Perfect. Yeah. So just a quick recap of what we have discussed. I said that profile is nothing but it's a logical grouping of your WebSphere application server resources. If you see my WebSphere application server resources, what are there? A cell is there, a node is there, a node agent is there, and a server is there. When I'm trying to combine all these WebSphere application server resources into a logical form, the name given to the logical grouping of all these resources is called as a profile. As part of that, I showed you diagrammatically, schematically, what is the relationship between the cell, node agent, server, and the profile. Anyone questions still there?
No, sure.
Everyone clear about the relationship between profile, cell, node, and server?
Yeah, it's clear.
That okay. Silence, algorithm, everyone is clear. So continuing the same, we have the other concept called as types of profiles. What are the types of profiles we have got? Okay. If you see the
Increase the size. Yeah, could you just increase the font size?
yeah. Sorry, I forgot. How about now? Is it better?
Yes, good.
Okay. So we know what exactly is meant by profile. Okay. Now extending the same concept of profile, we have another concept in the terminology concept called as types of profiles. What are the types of profiles? Okay. In the WebSphere application server, latest version, that is 8.0 or 8.8 versions, we have the different kinds of profile called as a cell profile, app server profile, custom profile, secure management profile, and the fifth one is the management profile. Inside this particular management profile, we have the different kinds of profile called as a job manager, administrative agent, and the last and the very important one called as the DMGR profile. Okay. Yeah. So if you see the types of profiles we have got, okay, in total we have got around 5 different profiles from the latest versions of the WebSphere application server. The first one is called as a cell profile. Next one is an app server profile or application server profile. The third one is the custom profile. Fourth one is a secure management profile. Okay, and the fifth one is a management profile. Okay. These are the 5 different kinds of profiles we have got in the WebSphere application server 8.x or 8.0. But irrespective of the type of the version we have got, it might be 6x, it might be 7x, it might be 8x. Any kind of a version it is there. Irrespective of the versions of the WebSphere application server, wherever you go, these are the 4 different kinds of a profile you will definitely see. Okay? So what we'll try to do is that we'll first discuss about what are all these 4 different kinds of a profile, the significance of them, then we'll discuss about the other profiles. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So first we'll try to understand what exactly is meant by a cell profile. What is meant by cell profile? A cell profile is nothing but when you try to create a profile by name a cell profile. Once you have successfully created a profile by name cell profile, automatically the custom automatically the app server profile plus DMGR profile will be created for you. I'm just saying that I'm creating a profile by name app server cell profile. The moment I think it's a little bit very disturbing. Can you just try to check that echo? It's giving a lot of inconvenience. I'm not able to.
Give me a moment. Yeah, a lot of echo for him. So. You're having a lot of echo. Let me see what we can do here. Give me a minute. Let me try to find out where is this mic here.
Okay.
No, 1 minute. Hold on.
No problem. You'll be seeing that mic in the GoToMeeting. On the extreme left-hand side.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. So I am just muting, okay?
Okay, Atif, thank you. Yeah, now I'm not able to hear that echo. Thank you, thanks a lot. Yeah, so if you see the types of profile, as part of the types of profile, we're discussing about the 4 different standard profiles, which you'll definitely see wherever you go in the WebSphere application server. The other profiles called secure management profile, app, job manager profile, administrative agent, these are not so critical, okay, but still they are there in the concept of types of profiles in the 8.0 or the 8.x version. So first what we'll try to do is that we'll try to understand what is the concept behind the standard profiles called as in cell, app, custom and DMGR profile. So first of all is the cell profile. What is meant by cell profile? Anytime if you're saying that I have successfully created a profile by name cell profile, so automatically a profile by the name app server profile and automatically a profile by the name DMGR profile will be created. Just need to say that I'm trying to create a cell profile. When you're saying that I'm trying to create a profile by the name cell profile, automatically an app server profile will be created, automatically a DMGR profile will be created, automatically there will be a federation of the app server profile with the DMGR profile. What is meant by federation? Don't ask me right now. I'll talk about that little bit later. Clear? So when you're saying that I'm trying to create a profile by the name cell profile, what is meant by a cell profile? A cell profile is a profile when you create it, automatically an app server profile, automatically and DMGR profile will be created and a federation happens between them. It's something like, let's say that I'm going to the McD. When I'm going to the McD, okay, I want to eat French fries, I want to have a cold drink and I want to have a veg mix aloo tikki. So these 3 things I want to buy it. So rather than buying these 3 individual items individually, I go to the McD and say that, hey, can I have a mini meal? So when I go and buy my mini meal, automatically they'll be giving me the veg mix aloo tikki, they'll be giving me the French fries, they'll be giving me the cold drink. So that is what is the package by name mini meal. And similarly, you want to create an app server profile. You want to create a DMGR profile. Okay. Combinedly, both of them if you want to create, then just say that I want to create a cell profile. The moment you try to create a profile by the name cell profile, automatically an app server profile will be created. Automatically a DMGR profile is created and successfully there will be a federation between the app and the DMGR profile. Clear? Cell profile is nothing but the moment you create it successfully, okay, then DMGR and the app server profiles will be created successfully and a federation happens between them. What is meant by app server profile? What is meant by DMGR profile? I'll start discussing right now, provided you don't have any questions till now. Clear? Anyone any questions?
Yeah. No, I think we are good.
Thank you. Yeah. So the next one we have is the DMGR profile. What is this DMGR profile? DMGR profile is nothing but the moment you are trying to create a profile by the name DMGR profile, okay, the moment a profile called as DMGR is nothing but deployment management profile. DMGR profile is nothing but, okay, it's a deployment management profile. So the moment you are trying to create successfully a profile by the name DMGR profile, automatically and deployment management profile creates. Okay, DMGR is nothing but deployment management profile. So the moment you have successfully created a profile by the name DMGR, what happens? A deployment management profile will be created successfully. Clear? The moment you're saying that I'm trying to create a profile by the name DMGR profile, so what happens? Okay, a profile by the name deployment management profile gets created successfully. Okay, and after the DMGR profile is getting created, the moment you have successfully created a DMGR or the deployment management profile, you get a one and only one instance by the name DMGR and a GUI tool called as admin console. Clear? The moment you're saying that I'm trying to create a profile by the name DMGR profile, okay, and in case if the creation of the profile by the name DMGR profile or the deployment management profile is getting created successfully, then by default a GUI tool called as an admin console and one and only one server instance by name DMGR will be created. Clear everyone? What is the use of the GUI tool called as an admin console? Very simple. Okay, I want to monitor the different resources. What is meant by profile? Profile is nothing but it contains many resources inside that. It contains server, it contains the cells, it contains the node, port numbers, etc. and etc. So whatever the list of resources that are available inside the DMGR profile, if you want to control them, if you want to monitor them, if you want to view them, one of the easiest way, one of the simplest way is by using a GUI tool called as an admin console. With the help of the GUI tool called as an admin console, you can comfortably interact with the WebSphere application server. Okay? What is meant by DMGR profile? A DMGR profile or a deployment management profile is a profile when you create it successfully, by default will have one and only one server instance by name DMGR and a GUI tool called as an admin console. Using the GUI tool called as an admin console, what you can do, you can monitor the resources. You can control the different resources. You can view the different resources that are available under the DMGR profile. Clear? Am I clear to everyone?
Yes, Shiv, one more question. Is the session is being recorded?
Yes, session is recorded.
Yes, session is recorded. Okay. All right.
But anyone, any questions on what is meant by DMGR profile?
Very good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. The next one we have is the app server profile or application server profile. App server profile or application server profile is a profile. When you create it, by default, you'll have a server by name server 1, okay, and a GUI tool called as an admin console. Clear? When I'm trying to create a profile by name app server profile or application server profile, what is happening? The moment I have successfully created a profile by name app server or application server profile, a default server by name server 1 is getting created, and along with that, we also have a GUI tool called as an admin console. What is the use of this GUI tool called as an admin console? Like how we have the DMGR profile admin console to monitor the resources inside the DMGR profile. In a similar way, the purpose of having the app server profile admin console is to monitor, view, control the different resources that are there under the app server profile. Whatever the list of resources that are there under the app server profile, if you want to monitor them, if you want to view them, if you want to control them, then you can use the app server profile related GUI tool called as an admin console to do all these operations. These are just one of the way of interacting with the WebSphere application server, which is the most comfortable and which is the most easiest way. For example, let's say that I'm asking all people to drop an email to shiva@weblogic@gmail.com for some XYZ. You open either your Gmail or Yahoo Mail and you try to type in the email. But rather than doing that, I'm giving you a Unix box and I'm asking every one of you to drop an email. Both of them are used to drop an email to me. But if you see the Unix one, it's very difficult. Why? The GUI interaction is not there and the level of comfortness every one of us has is very limited. But in case of a Gmail or Yahoo Mail, that's also an email service. But if I'm asking you to drop an email, and if you're going with a Gmail or a Yahoo Mail, then the level of comfort you have is a different one when compared to the Unix operating system email services. In a similar way, you can communicate or talk to the WebSphere application server in any number of ways. But with the help of the GUI tool called as an admin console, it is the most easiest one. Clear? So what is meant by app server profile? App server profile or application server profile is a profile. When you try to create it, will have a default server by name server1 and a GUI tool called as an admin console. Using the GUI tool called as an admin console of your app server profile, whatever the list of resources that are there, we can view them, we can monitor them, we can control them, we can do whatever we want to do. Clear? That's the use of the app server profile. What exactly is meant by app server profile? What is meant by DMGR profile? DMGR profile is a profile called as a deployment management profile. When you try to create it, by default will have only one server by name DMGR and the GUI tool called as an admin console. The use of the DMGR profile admin console is to monitor the different resources, different things that are there inside the DMGR profile. Whatever these resources that are there, if you want to monitor them, control them, view them, then we can do it by using the DMGR profile admin console. Clear? Am I clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Am I clear to everyone?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Anyone, any questions still here?
No, Chef, all good.
Okay. So, Atif, except you, okay, we are the students who are there in the session, I want to ask you all a question. If you try to see my app server profile, okay, inside my app server profile, I'll have a server by name server1 and GUI tool called as an admin console. And if you try to see the DMGR profile, even in the DMGR profile, I have a server by name DMGR and a GUI tool called as an admin console. Except in the difference of the name of the server, in both app server profile I say GUI tool, in the DMGR profile I say GUI tool. In the app server profile I see the server, in a DMGR profile also I see a server. Except in the difference in the name of the server, hardly I see any difference. So, can any one of me explain what are the differences, or what do you think are the differences between the DMGR profile and the app server profile? Clear? Or if you want me to put the question, I'll try to put the question a different way. When we can use an app server profile, when we can use a DMGR profile? Clear? Am I clear with my question?
Yeah, they have a question. Yeah.
What is that? I mean, is he asking a question, or is he going to tell us the answer?
Are you asking
I'm
a question?
asking a question.
So, Shiv, can you just write it down there?
Yeah. Okay, both for the, what are the differences between the DMGR profile and the app server profile from whatever the discussion we had? What I see is that in both app server profile there is a server by name server1. In the DMGR profile I see a server by name DMGR. Except in the name of the server, I hardly see any differences between the app server profile and the DMGR profile. So can anyone clarify me what are the differences between the DMGR profile and the app server profile? Am I clear with my question?
Yeah.
DMGR is a default profile.
Sorry?
And
Can you hear Shiv? He's telling DMGR is a default profile.
And it's a deployment manager.
And it is the deployment manager.
Okay. But what is the what does it mean by default profile?
When we create profile, it automatically it's going to create this profile.
So when you install the WebSphere application server, by default he's telling that this profile gets created, the DMGR.
No. I didn't say anything about the concept of default profile, so we'll not get into those. And added to that, DMGR profile is not the default profile. Absolute profile is the default profile. This for your information.
You know the answer? So we don't know the answer. Can you let us know?
Yeah, no problem. Okay, if you remember, while trying to discuss about the difference, DMGR profile, I strictly said that DMGR profile is a profile. When you try to create it, by default, you will have one and only one server by name DMGR profile. But while trying to talk about the AppServe profile, I said that AppServe profile is a profile. When you try to create it, by default, will have a server by name server1. So that means to say that, okay, if you try to recollect the definition of a default DMGR profile is a profile which will have one and only one server by name DMGR server. That means to say that clearly throughout the life of the DMGR profile, we cannot have more than one server. Clear? But while trying to say about the AppServe profile, I said that AppServe profile is a profile. When you try to create it, by default you will have a server by name server1. That means to say that initially there will be a default server by name server1. But later if you want, we have a flexibility to create multiple servers. Clear everyone on the difference? While trying to give the definition of the DMGR profile, I said that DMGR profile is a profile. When you try to create it, by default you will have one and only one server by name DMGR. But while trying to talk about the AppServe profile, I said that AppServe profile is a profile. When you try to create it, by default will have a server by name server1, which clearly indicates that there might be a chance for me to create multiple number of servers inside the app server profile. But by default, there will be only one server by name server1 the moment the profile gets created successfully. Clear? Anyone, any questions? Yes, am I clear with my, am I clear?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
Can you
So-
repeat this?
Yeah, Shiv, can you just repeat it?
Yeah, no problem. So we are trying to discuss about the basic difference between the DMGR profile and the AppServe profile. So if you see the basic difference, to go back to the definition of the DMGR profile definition, I said, yeah, thank you. Yeah. So while trying to say the definition of the DMGR profile, I said that DMGR profile is a profile. When you try to create it, will have one and only one server by name DMGR, which clearly indicates that throughout the life of my DMGR profile, I can create only one server by name DMGR. Beyond one server, I cannot create any number of servers. Minimum and the maximum number of servers is only one. But while trying to talk about the AppServe profile, I said that AppServe profile is a profile. When you try to create it, by default, will have a server by name server1. Here I didn't set one and only one. I just said that when you're trying to create a profile by name AppServe profile, you will have a server, you will have a default server with the name default name server1. Okay, that means to say that initially there will be only one server. Later on, if you want, we might have a chance to create multiple servers. Clear? Am I clear?
Multiple servers.
Am I clear?
On the application server.
So we can create more than one application server.
Yes. If you want to create server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4, server 20, server 30, like that.
Okay.
Clear? Okay. Atif, I could see a couple of people by name Farhan and Najib Khan. Are they from your batch? Atif?
From where?
I could see a couple of students with the name Farhan
Hold
and
on.
Najib Khan.
Just 1 minute.
जी आठ भाई जी
Shiv, is it clear now? Yeah, they are from the class actually.
Yeah, Atif. Thank you. Thanks for that confirmation. I just want to confirm myself. Yeah. So, continuing the session, the next one we have is a custom profile. What is meant by custom profile? Custom profile is nothing but it's an empty profile. What do I mean by empty profile? By default, the moment you have created a profile by name custom profile, by default it will be an empty profile. No servers, no GUI tool, nothing. It's a simple empty profile. Custom profile or a customization profile is initially an empty profile with the 0 resources inside that. But later on, if you want, you can create any number of servers you want in the custom profile. But throughout the life of the custom profile, we cannot have a GUI tool called as an admin console. It depends upon the Ninja profile for all of its resources monitoring or controlling or Atif, am I audible to every one of them?
Yeah, I just sent them the message to just mute their mic. I think it should be okay now. Yeah.
So I was just trying to discuss about the custom profile. So as part of that, I said that custom profile is nothing but it's an empty profile. By that I mean to say that by default inside the custom profile we have 0 resources. By default, whenever I'm trying to create a custom profile or a customization profile, which is called as an empty profile, by default it contains 0 resources inside that. By default, my custom profile has got 0 resources inside that. Nothing will be there inside my custom profile. Okay, it doesn't have any server, it doesn't have anything. By default, my custom profile or my customization profile is an empty profile. But later on, after a particular concept called as a federation, you can create any number of servers you want inside the custom profile. But throughout the life of the custom profile, we cannot have a GUI tool called as an admin console. Am I clear? Anyone, any questions till here?
Okay, could you just repeat one more time? Yeah, you can create any number of servers.
Yeah, custom profile is initially the moment you try to create a profile by name custom profile, by default it's an empty profile. Nothing will be there inside that. Okay, by default a custom profile is an empty profile. Nothing will be there inside that. It's an empty profile. But later on, if you want, you can add any number of resources inside that. Okay, you can create any number of servers you want inside that. But throughout the life of the custom profile, we can never and ever have a GUI tool called as an admin console. Clear? Am I clear to everyone?
We can create servers as many as we can by the federation, or we can configure.
Yeah. Both in the app server profile and in the custom profile. If you want to create more than one server in an app server profile, or if you want to add more number of servers inside the custom profile, then we have to do a federation. What is meant by federation? I'll talk about it a little bit later.
So without federation, we cannot create profiles in the custom profile.
Okay. If I'm correct in understanding this question, your question is that, Shiva, do you mean to say that exactly without having federation, we cannot create a service in the custom profile, and we cannot create more than one server in an app server profile? Do you mean to say the same? Am I correct in understanding your question?
Yes.
Then in that sense, whatever your understanding is, it's 100% correct. Without doing the federation, we cannot create more than one server in an app server profile, and we cannot add any number of servers inside the custom profile. You have to do the federation. What is meant by federation? Don't ask me now. As I said, I'll talk about it a little bit later. Clear? But any questions still here?
No.
Cool. The next one we have is the concept of, we know what is meant by WebSphere application server. We have some overview about the terminology and the topology. We know the different flavors of WebSphere application server. You want to understand more about the WebSphere application server. Then what you have to do, you have to go and buy the WebSphere application server product and try to install the product. You bought the product. Now you want to install the WebSphere application server. Irrespective of the type of operating system I'm having. It might be a Windows-based operating system like Windows 8, Windows 7, Windows 98, Windows 2003, blah blah blah, all those Windows-based operating system, or it might be a Unix-flavored operating system, in the sense AX, Sun Solaris, Ubuntu, CentOS, like that. Irrespective of the type of operating system you're having, the WebSphere application server can be installed in two different ways: GUI mode, silent mode. GUI mode is nothing but graphical user interface. By default, the graphical user interface is enabled only on the Windows-based operating system. Clear? By default, the GUI mode of installation is only possible in a Windows-based operating system. Why? Because only in the Windows-based operating system, the graphical interaction is possible. So, the GUI mode of installation by default is meant only for the Windows-based operating system. For that, what you have to do is that you have to go to the path where the WAS software is there. Inside that, we have a folder by name WAS. Inside that, we have setup.jar or install.exe. Executing either in setup.jar or executing either install.exe, we can do the installation of the WebSphere application server using the GUI mode. Very important point to remember is that in a Windows-based operating system, all the executable files will be there either in the exe format or in the BAT format. Clear, everyone? BAT or exe by default are the executable files in a Unix operating system. In a Windows-based operating system. In a Unix-based operating system, the executables are either the .sh file or the .bin file. Any files with the .bin extension or .sh extension are the different executable files in a Unix operating system. In a Windows operating system, it is either .exe or .bat files. Clear, everyone? Silence, I'll assume it's clear. The next one we
Bash
have
file. BAT batch file, yeah. BAT batch file. Yeah, it's clear. Move on. Sure.
Okay. So the next mode of installation we have got is a silent mode. Silent means I don't have a GUI utility. Okay. I don't have the color display. So by default, that kind of installation is by default meant for the Unix operating system. So how do you install it? If you want to do the installation of the WebSphere application server using the silent mode, first of all, create a file by name responsefile.nd.txt. Create a file by name responsefile.nd.txt. Okay. In this particular file, whatever the things you want to do as part of the installation, you want to create 20 profiles, you want to have 100 servers, you want to install it on ABC, you want to have the profiles on DEF, whatever the requirement you have got, try to create a response file.nd.txt matching your requirement. Okay. You have to create a response file.nd.txt which contains the list of instructions you want to do, list of commands you want to execute, list of the things you want to create as part of the installation. As part of the installation of the WebSphere application server, whatever the things you want to do, you do it, you provide those information inside the response file.nd.txt. Then you go to the path where the WebSphere application server software is there. Okay. Inside that we have a VAS folder. Okay. Inside that we have the install.sh file. Okay. Invoke that and say -options the path of response file.nd.txt. Okay. Give the complete path of the response file.nd.txt and simply say -silent. Clear? -options space the complete path of the response file.nd.txt -silent. Go for a half an hour coffee break, come back, the installation will be done for you. Clear? Don't worry about how do we create the response file.nd.txt. I'll talk about that in tomorrow's session or in our next session. Except that, any questions till here? Any questions still here? Is it clear to everyone?
Yeah, Shiv, it's clear. Is it okay? Okay, yeah.
Okay. So this is how we can do the installation of the WebSphere application server. If you don't have any question, the explanation of the response file.nd.txt will take a minimum of 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll not discuss about that right now. Okay. We'll go for a break today, and in the next session, okay, just before we leave, just have a word with Daniel, who is there in the call, regarding the timings. Just try to have a confirmation with him on the timings. In our next session, what we'll try to do is that we'll talk about how do we create the response file.nd.txt. Experienced people will be knowing how to create it, but we as a starters, when you want to create the response file.nd.txt, how do we create this response file.nd.txt and how do we do this installation? We'll talk about this in our next session. In our today's session, what we discussed about the types of profiles we have got. We discussed about the installation and the types of installation irrespective of the type of operating system I'm having. Clear?